I think sometimes pros, I've got a blur background, so you can't really tell, but I think sometimes pros like are sneaky about the number of days out they are.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it too, because I feel like I did this with nationals where it's like I wasn't really doing the countdown, but it was like it should be obvious, kind
Yeah,
of.
it's like you're just saying that you're not denying that you're in prep, but you're not
Yeah.
explicitly saying that you are.
Yeah. And I think you and I have talked about this. For me, it's kind of like, yes, that is the show that I'm gunning for and pretty much placing my all my eggs in that basket. But I'm also like, I'm not going to show up if I'm not ready. Now, granted, when
Yeah.
you're an amateur going for a pro qualifier, it's like you have fewer to choose from. But, when it comes to like regionals or my pro debut, like, yeah, I'm still going to like shoot for that show, but
Of
I'm going to let
course.
my coach is going to tell me when I'm ready.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes I'm afraid, like, by saying, hey, I'm going to do this show, if something happens, not even to anybody's fault, whether it would be like my fault or my coach's fault, or like it could just be just not quite ready. Like, I don't want anyone to think it's a bad thing when really it's just like, no, I want to
Yeah.
be ready.
Fair. Although I do remember with your case though, before I followed you, Justin posted, a couple of your updates. I think was it peak week or like 2 weeks out, and he was like, "She's gonna kill me for posting this, but I'm gonna post it anyway."
It
I
was
remember
it was
that.
especially funny with nationals prep because I feel like it kind of like took a lot longer to get moving. So I just felt like I was kind of flat and didn't necessarily look the part. And I was so busy with work and I'd go to the gym and I just want to train. I wouldn't want to film anything. And then all of a sudden, before I knew it, we were like single digit weeks out. And I hadn't really said much about it. And I was like, well, this is kind of nice. So I
Yeah,
just kind of kept it that way.
but you look great though. Like he kept posting you. Maybe I can't remember. Was it with like your face blurred or like with just your head cropped off?
Oh, really?
I was thinking this girl looks amazing. Like
Thank you.
I replied and said like this girl is gonna turn pro, and she did turn
Really?
pro.
That's so
Yeah, no,
funny.
because
Even now
sorry.
when I look back at them, I know the lag. I'm like, oh gosh, I was so small. Did I get lucky? Especially with everyone talking about how we could talk about that, all the pro cards getting
I
awarded.
mean that was how I felt though when I turned pro
Yeah,
because I was literally small. I
yeah,
was small. I mean I'm less small, but small. Like now less
yeah.
small and then small. That one was small.
How many pro cards were given at that qualifier?
That I did.
Yeah.
So you see, only the US is the one that awards pro cards every class. Like the rest of
Hmm.
us have to be the overall winner, or if we do Olympia amateurs, then it's top three overalls.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So was
but
yours top three or just you?
no, it was just me.
Wow. See,
Yeah,
yeah, I think they gotta rearrange something over here. I'm It's kind of discouraging, I think, to see how I don't know if it's the introduction of wellness that's causing like figure and women's physique to sort of thin out, but I feel
Mhm.
like the past few years with that introduction, like the numbers just aren't showing up for figure and women's physique to be doing top two.
Well, yeah. Well, I hear that. I still think across the board though, like at most maybe it should be top two at overalls or just still the overall winner. But I also understand that they're trying to bring up like the number of people in a pro
Yeah,
meet.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it works for like most of the men's division and bikini and wellness. I just think for like, figure at USA's, some of those classes had three girls, three or four
Oh
girls.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
But I
then
thought it was part of the rules that, like if it's less than five people per class, then only one person gets the pro card.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. But then I thought it was you that said that was if it was
I think they're
less than
counting the number of
the
competitors in the
division,
division. Yeah.
which is, I mean, they can start there by, putting a clause in the rules, like if your class specifically has fewer than five, then
Yeah.
what we're gonna do. Like it definitely needs to be reworked, you know.
I guess like
But
it makes you question the prestige of your pro card, but
yeah.
at the same time, I guess like the converse perspective can also be there. Like what, however you go as a pro afterwards, it's the bigger thing to consider. Yeah.
You know,
So I'll
and
leave that.
that's a really good point because I think a lot of times it's like even people who win might just be like, all right, I checked it off the list. So it really
Yeah.
goes down to like what you end up doing with the pro card. I agree with that. Like if you weren't quite ready and you get it anyway, like you've either got your homework to do in the pro league or you just want to keep showing just for the sake of showing, which is kind of like I'm not even hating on that because that's kind of the situation I'm looking at now. It's like I'm not planning on doing a show next year and winning. It's like, all right, well, let's see what happens and then go from there.
So I
So
guess what I think is that if any amateur is watching this, and of course everyone wants to turn pro, to just avoid situations where, I mean, in Asia, it's a very common case where we also don't have a lot of competitors for our pro qualifiers sometimes, and then sometimes the standards arguably are also not as good as what people would say. So what I would encourage like a lot of amateurs to have that kind of mindset is really to win your pro card with a pro worthy physique that you would
mhm,
be proud of.
mhm.
Obviously don't expect, sometimes we don't want to expect ourselves to be looking, I mean, most of us would not be turning pro looking like seasoned pros, right? But at the same time, if you looked good that day, regardless of how your lineup shows up and the number of people, if you look good and you won your pro card, and everyone understands that this girl would go pro sooner or later, you done your job.
Yeah, and that was the other argument I had for because initially I was like, well, you could just do first place, and I know a lot of great second place pro card physiques.
Mhm.
So in saying that, it's not me being like, well, if you got a second place pro card, you don't deserve it. I think a lot of people would agree if you're a second place pro card winner and they changed the rules so that they didn't award second place, you're
Yeah,
knocking on the door. Like you're gonna
yeah,
get that pro card sooner or
yeah.
later. And for me personally, like I think the last thing I would want to do would be turn pro almost on accident because no one else showed up. Like I would rather have that extra year in the amateurs, whether that means like more time. Like I almost wish I had more time on stage instead of just like I'm glad I won and done it.
Mhm.
But I also don't have very much stage experience. So it's like
Yeah.
don't kind of like rush through that process. And you can always like the great thing about NPC News Online is like you can pull up last year's winners and like compare them to your show look and see like, all right, am I ready
How
to go?
close? Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, I do agree with that.
yeah.
Like if it was just like two other people standing with me and then they didn't award me the pro card,
Oh, really?
I mean, I'm saying like if I was standing with two other people
Oh, I
and they
see.
didn't want me the pro card, I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't, obviously it wouldn't feel nice because you're like, "Ah, damn it, I could have won my pro card if there were more people," but you wouldn't know at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Because it depends on who shows up. So I do agree with what you're saying, like just having like the other year and just possibly maybe having more people the next year, it
Yeah.
would just make you more competitive anyway.
The other thing they could always do too is like it's kind of along the same lines of the overall, but once you turn pro, you don't have the safety of height classes.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the figure they probably came up with these classes however many years ago, and it's literally an inch apart. Like
yeah,
maybe you go 2 inches. Do it a little more. I know the regional shows probably only have three, but if you could get those 7, 8 classes, whatever it is,
yeah.
down to 5 or 6.
I wonder if like they had like the height classes also just as a way to get people to be more competitive, because it was in the past that you had to be the overall winner to win the pro card. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like, you have to win your class and then win the overalls, and that's like, a stepping stone to get people to be competitive.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
do feel like that doesn't maybe make quite as much sense. Like, you look at nationals
Mhm.
and just, like, the nationals, people always call all the national shows nationals. I'm talking about, like, nationals. Um, that's a big show, so I don't know that, like, just doing the overall winner there or even top 3 in the overall winner, um, I feel like they just kind of need to go through and base it on attendance, because the shows
Yes,
have
that,
definitely.
I can agree that. I can definitely agree with that because I think it should go by the number of people in the class.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
know that might be frustrating because then it's like, you could be signing up and not knowing, but at the same time, you shouldn't be signing up thinking like, "Oh, this is a small show and I can
Easy.
probably win."
Yeah, because you see, here's the thing: when we all go pro, it's only one winner. Not
Yeah.
all of us go to the Olympia. You have to be the first person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people want to, like, go pro, and then, like they say, but I just want to be able to compete in pro shows, and then I can work on my physique the moment I go pro. But in the same argument, it's like, why not aim to actually look like a pro? And
Yeah.
then maybe you would be so competitive because you were so competitive as an amateur, and because you took so much time to work on it. And then you see people, like, took a while to go pro, and then they win their pro card, and then they're on a roll after that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's-
yeah, it's like I said, it's sometimes it's like it's okay, well, it's 6 or 1/2 dozen. It's like what you do
yeah.
with the pro card or, like, and that's not really for us to decide. If people just want to turn pro, that's fine. But yeah, I agree. The longer you just kind of like keep hanging out in the amateurs and put yourself up against those competitive people, the more likely you are to probably be able to just go straight from your pro card win to enter into a pro show and probably start doing pretty decent. So it's like,
And I guess to a certain extent, though, it doesn't actually matter how you turn pro, because let's say you were second place, be it whether you were first place, even if there was no pro card, right? Whether you were first place, second place, or third place, you are going to see these people again at some point. I just think that way because if, let's say, you were first place, someone was second, she's probably close. Third place was probably also close, and then you see people not make a call out, and then they are winning
yep.
the following year. So, you will see your amateur friends or the people you competed with when you were amateurs again in the pro ranks.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, someone could not even make top 5 just because they're not conditioned, but they've got all the pieces. All they need to do, like, that's like an easy thing to fix for most people. I know some people really struggle with getting in shape, but I
Yeah.
think for the most part, like, with the right coaching and the right staying calm,
Protocol. Yeah. In the
show up,
posing again.
yeah, show up in shape and
Mhm.
probably have a much different result,
But
which
I guess,
is.
but I guess it also sometimes it helps, right? Like, I think I've shared this with you before. It's almost like imposter syndrome sometimes when we go pro, especially for, like, okay, I would just speak from my experience because I went pro on my third show.
Mhm,
So I don't, to a certain extent. So when I had Justin asked me to do my pro debut, I was a little bit freaking out because part of me would have wanted to have a bit more stage experience.
mhm,
Because I wouldn't say that my posing is atrocious, but it's not the best.
mhm.
It can be worked on, but it definitely helps having such stage experience. I know amateur friends who have done 20, 30 shows, and they are so seasoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same boat. I think, yeah, it would be technically my 4th show. So I had 2 in 1 season,
Mhm.
and then the year before Nats, and then Nats. And it's, yeah, like, I don't get nervous the entire show day. The second I get on stage, I start shaking like a leaf, and there's no way to replicate that. You
Yeah.
can you can practice your posing all
Yes.
day long for the entire 20 weeks. There's no replicating that moment when you get under those lights and you're staring at the audience and the judges,
This is so true. I was watching a podcast that was done with, I think, Stefan, boss of Outlaw, and he said this is why he likes to get his athletes, pros and maybe amateurs who are ready to just get on stage when they can, because
Yeah.
you just can't replicate the stage experience even if you try to do it at home. Like
Hmm.
wake up this time, practice a mock peak, do some pump up with bands. It's just not the same.
No. That's
Yeah.
why even so again for amateurs, it's kind of a ripoff by the NPC. But if you've never done a show before, I don't care how great your physique is, enter that true novice, enter the novice, enter the open. Just get on there, get up on that stage as many times as you can. Just it might be the same day, but I'll bet you by the time you get up there the third time, like you'll feel a lot more confident.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is what I'm aiming to do when I get my season rolling, because I've always been like a one in like two. The max done in a season was two shows, 2022, two shows. Following year, turn pro. That was it. And then my pro debut, Justin also said just do one show. He said most new pros will only do one show. So I've always been mostly like a one and done.
Hmm.
But I know I need that stage experience to see what it's like peaking multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I haven't decided. I initially I was thinking I'd just do one, but if there's a second close, I kind of would like to do a second, I think.
Well, I think you should do two though. I mean, number one, I think it's easy for me to say because like you're in the US, it's
Yeah.
easier, trouble wise, supposedly,
Yeah.
and you guys have different set of judges.
Hmm. I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
And they always end up being so close together that it's not like when you're picking a regional show, you've got like months in between, you know?
yeah. Well, I would say it's context dependent. So I'll just use your case, right, Jess?
Mm.
You took a whole year off, so you would be decently or definitely you would be competitive to see if your feedback was consistent from show to show.
Yeah.
Because different judges do give different feedback.
Yeah. That's a really good point too.
But
And
one
also,
thing I want to tell the amateurs though, if you already know what your feedback is going into a show, then maybe you want to consider if you're also competitive enough to step on stage and instead of extending that off season. Because a lot of us say, oh, we want to go on stage for experience and get judges' feedback. I guess that would make sense to a certain extent when you're already pro. I mean, it's always free for all. Can correct me, um, but I wouldn't want to jump into my season knowing that I already know what my feedback was.
yeah.
Yeah,
On that note though, also to amateur, not necessarily amateurs, anyone listening,
yeah,
I feel like when judges get to giving their feedback, um, if you're still like looking for a national qualifier or like in the regionals, a lot of times I feel like judges give their feedback in ways that make break it down and make it easier to accomplish. When a lot of times, if you're above bikini, a lot of times we just need to grow everything. So your
yeah,
feedback might be like, grow the delts, grow the back, when really like your motive should still be like everything needs to grow, you know? And I think a lot of times we can figure that out like ourselves because we watch enough shows, but also like, rely on your coach and listen to the judges' feedback. I do think it's very valuable to get that feedback, especially like getting in front of them, but
mhm.
also understand like you probably still just need to keep growing everything.
Yeah. If you're new, like at least I would say just being um what's that word for it? Just to know where you are from a muscularity standpoint.
Yeah,
It's good. Yes, what I would do is like I would run my feedback by my coach, and
exactly.
you will see where they are coming from. Um, because sometimes it's the feedback can be very vague since they
Hmm.
are coming from like they're trying to give feedback to like multiple people at one
Yeah,
go. So
yeah,
when they say like after it comes to a certain point, like need more back, where? Where in the back?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, like my feedback, I knew this, but I still asked, grow the delts and the quads. And it's like, yeah, that's what I need. But I also know like I need a little bit of everything. And Tanya and I are like having this conversation right now, like girls gabbing. But at the end of the day, like your coach very much needs to be. I'm kind of the type of person, I don't know about you. It's like I want to let my coach tell me when I'm ready. I don't
Yeah,
want to go to my coach and be like, this is the show I want to do, because
yeah.
I think when you lock into a specific show, you get that emotional connection when really
They
the
get disappointed when you can't do it. I've seen a lot of people
yeah,
get disappointed when they can't do it. Yeah.
sorry, I just got a text from my boss at 6:30 in the morning. I feel in trouble.
Yeah, I was like, what the
Send me an email. Email me. I'm not going to remember. um, shut
Yeah.
up. Uh, yeah, rely on your coach. Like, don't get that emotional connection to the show, and like, don't show up before you're ready. That's all
So
I have to.
I will share this story. Now that you mentioned this, I think I can't remember if I told you. I probably told you, Jess. I was helping my friend have this conversation. I mean, his client is an acquaintance, like a fellow gym guy of mine. When I, like, because when I visited Australia, I met the guy, right? And I know he wants to get on stage really, really soon, but we all like his coach and I knew like he was not competitive enough yet, especially when his goal is to turn pro. So, but he's also so married to like, oh, like, okay, so if I'm not competing this year, would it be early season next year? And then he'll keep posting and saying like, I gotta do this season, gotta do this season, and then it just creates a lot of stress. You can see it creates a lot of stress for the person and the coach. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So this is why I prefer to be able to tell. But that said, as a coach myself as well, and I have spoken to like different coaches how what their delivery is with these stuff. Sometimes they will let the athlete choose the show. Like they
hmm
think it should be the athlete's choice from because of simply because of like financial
yeah,
standpoint,
yeah,
and when they feel they are mentally locked in. But at the same time, so but I find the middle ground should be athletes can suggest a timeline and a show,
yes,
suggest it to the coach, and then
yeah,
discuss it if it makes sense, and not
yes,
like either one person takes full reins.
yeah, and that's kind of more what I mean is it should still be a mutual thing. And also, I guess I should probably add, like, when I say ready for show, I don't necessarily mean like ready to win your pro card. I just mean like you're conditioned for the amount of muscle you have,
Yeah,
and you're just ready. You don't necessarily need to be like in it for the overall, just like if it's your first outing. But I
yeah.
also actually think, like, sorry, I feel like I'm just on a tangent after tangent, but
No,
I
no.
also think you need to be like realist. I'd love your feedback on this. Something I was thinking about is like, if you're doing your first show and you don't have quite as much muscle, don't pay so much attention to these more experienced girls on Instagram that are getting like shredded and grainy, because a good coach probably isn't going to try to get you like absolutely shredded, because you just don't really have the muscle to show, and you're probably better off being a little fuller so that you don't like completely.
Either way.
Yeah,
Well, I think sometimes the first show, the goal is just to make sure that the person is able to actually enjoy the prep, have a good first experience,
yeah,
also get on stage in shape. See
yeah.
that can I get this person in shape, and can this person work to get in shape?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
like when I look back at my first show, it's actually funny. It was like 4 years ago today. I look at them
Oh,
and like,
okay.
sure, I wasn't peeled, but at the same time, I'm so glad that my coach kind of knew what to do with me, because like I had no muscle on me. So it's like probably barely even had visible abs, but it's like, if you kept dieting me, it's like I would have just looked like Skeletor. So just things to keep in mind.
That reminds me of my first show. I showed up with no muscle. I was
Yeah,
peeled. I had no muscle.
yeah,
So it goes either way.
yeah. I think that's normal. So just, yeah, have fun. Have fun. It goes by too fast. And I think like you don't necessarily need to wait until you're ready to turn pro to compete. Like that's
Of
not
course.
what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, because you kind of need to figure out if you even like the actual prep side of the process. But
But I think the other thing also that I wanted to point out, right? Like at the same point, we have another group of people. like people like me and you who just never think we're ready.
I know. I know.
So to a certain extent, I guess it's like, yeah, we should get on stage when we are competitive, but at some
Yeah.
point, when you're never gonna feel like you're ready.
Tanya with her giant biceps doesn't think they're big enough and finally gets reprimanded.
You know, you remove my arm day straight up.
I don't want to see that shit on Instagram. I was like, I was so relieved. So backstory, I can just give cliff notes on this, right?
Yeah.
Backstory is so Tanya's always sharing her arm selfies. I'm sure everyone's seen those. Just
Well,
like,
because my previous split had delts and arm day,
yeah.
right? So my split was like a 3 day on, 1 day off. It would be like back, and then it would be legs, lower body, full legs, and then it's delts and arms, and then rest, and then it's back and delts, and then glutes and hamstrings, and then delts and arms again. But one has more arm focus because my arms are a little bit longer compared to the rest of my body. At least my torso, so I have lankier arms. So I had to fill them up a little bit, and then like I just maybe went a little bit carried away. The season that he just removed all my arm days. And I have like, and it used to be like, a full leg day where he said like, I still want to see you do some like, like some, you still need to do a little bit of quad work to keep the lines.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I just get like no quad work, it's like, okay, maybe we don't actually need to do anything to keep the lines.
I saw that. I saw that. He said like not even any squatting patterns or something,
There's
right?
no squat pattern, yeah, because I want to look through the program and there is like maybe a little lighter sort of like Smith squats and everything.
Okay.
But like just for the most part, like there's like none. I don't really
So do
see
you bring the split that Justin wants you to do to Kelvin? Is Kelvin usually like pretty receptive, or will he like be like, well, actually we should do this because it'll help with XYZ?
He will focus on what Justin wants me to do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
but he will also. But what Kelvin does is that he will look at my mechanics and consider like if that makes sense for me at this current point of time. So let's say I have to fix certain imbalances, and then like okay, maybe like this exercise is in the program from Justin, but I say like for like right now it does not suit you. Like right now you just shouldn't be doing that. So let's switch that around, or for probably like what he wants me to do, we try to even out the volume accordingly so that it's still what Justin wants, but we find that middle ground for me to fix my mechanics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that dynamic.
Yes, but to give everyone an highlight, like I just got banned from arms. Like, no,
What was how did he say it?
like
Oh, cut that arm shit out. Yeah, I was relieved because like sometimes I would just be like, man, my arms really got a lot of catching up to do. I don't know if they'll ever look like that. And you would be talking like they were still too small, and I'd be like, what?
I wouldn't say that they're small. It's just for me, I always consider what happens when I go into prep.
Yeah.
Because I would notice that they will always be the first things that just
Really? That's interesting.
yeah. From what I've noticed, actually with most people for that matter, I noticed like probably because we lose fat there first and some water.
Yeah, I don't have that problem because I don't really have arms to begin with, so they just kind of
Well, the overall size has no change.
just stay exactly the same no matter what.
They don't look bad though. They look fine to me.
Yeah.
Okay, like what I'm trying to say is that I guess in figure we definitely don't want jacked arms.
Yeah.
But it's good to have some shape because you don't want, like where our mass is so concentrated in the center.
I agree.
That when it's like thinned out, you just look like
yeah. It just looks cool. I have an exciting update. I had a high day yesterday. This is the first time. Yeah, well,
in 2 weeks. So the first high day.
Actually, it's been like 3 weeks. So I was supposed to do them on my quad day. since I was
Okay.
sick last week, I skipped that quad day, and then I just never. I was going to put it on my ham day, and I was like, oh, I feel fine. I don't need it. So it's been longer than it should have been, but I only went up a pound, and normally I'll go up. Justin, we've talked about this all the time. He is like king of high days, so it's like a significant high day.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's the slew that I started or if it's just the length of time, but I only went up a pound, so I was pretty happy with that.
That's actually pretty impressive, though. I mean, that's how you know, like, you,
Yeah,
yeah, you have
yeah.
that. Obviously, because we're just having more carbs, you're gonna pull a little bit of water.
And I also like I usually always maybe not so much shoot up now that I'm like off drugs and we're in more of a diet phase, but just after like a heavy leg day, I can go up like 3 pounds easy. So
Okay,
yeah.
that is so interesting to like hear from your experience because I weigh the same every single day.
I know you always say that.
Yeah, like whether I come off or not, like it's the same. Just maybe
Yeah.
the composition can change. But it's so
Yeah.
interesting. Like I always thought that it was the case for men. Like they'll drop all that water weight when they come off, or when they diet down. But for you, you were like how many? Share with everyone how much weight you've already lost. Since you
Well, so far I'm down a little over 10 pounds in total, but I do
see,
feel
that
like,
is nuts to
yeah,
me.
because it's really only been a month. So, it was kind of hard to tell the initial like drop because as soon as we pulled drugs, I went on vacation. So of
Mhm.
course, like when you're taking that deload and also like basically a rest day diet for that entire time, like I came back home and I probably like dropped 10 pounds and then I bumped
Yeah, you
back
lose
up.
some inflammation.
Yeah. So, and I do feel like that weight fluctuation after like a leg day or a really hard training day is a little more aggressive, like when I'm fully pushing like drugs and food and everything. Whereas like in
Okay.
a deficit, it stays a little more level. But yeah,
When you
so
jump on, does the weight jump up for you exponentially as well? Of course, it
yeah,
depends on what you're taking, but
yeah. It kind of depends on what, but yeah, I'll go up 4 pounds in a week.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can see, someone's face is a little bit sharper.
Yeah, I know
I can see that.
that's I think like where it all came, where all the water came off of. I do feel like tighter in the midsection too, but
I'm
yeah,
sure you wouldn't be holding like
I
10
know.
pounds of water in your face.
I'll never be able to lie. Like, oh, what's Jessica? Oh, just a little Anadrol. I don't take
But
Anadrol kids, but I would love to.
when you as you like diet down and everything, like I know you were sick for a while. How's the weights and everything like just coming back in? Like with
Yeah, so I've
your
been. Do you mean the weights like that I'm lifting in the gym or my
yeah,
weight?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty. I'm not trying to be like super aggressive and like progressing on weights. I think this is like a really good time. I never use coming off all drugs as an excuse to train easier or lighter or anything like that. Like I always,
You should be pushing harder though if you're coming off.
yeah, you should be pushing like no matter what phase you're in. I hate the narrative of like, well, it's just a health phase. But I do use this time like towards the end of a push phase. I feel like we all kind of get in our heads and start maybe like chasing weight a little more than we should. And I don't think I ever get sloppy, but I could definitely benefit from kind of reeling it in and, making sure my form is nailed down. And if I'm going to change any exercises around, like this is when I'll do them. So things have been feeling really good. I think just kind of going in there with that, like, okay, form and execution is
Yeah,
first. So I still have my logbook, but like, if I'll hang out at the same weight for a little while and just kind of try to improve that form and the number of reps.
yeah, and that's something that Kelvin like always says, and what we talk about, like the weight can always. I mean, sometimes it feels okay for me, but I've noticed like just by holding the weights, like
Hmm.
for the next even like 2 3 weeks, the joint tension in the body it just gets better and better and better, and your reps just get more and more precise. So I
Hmm.
guess some people like I get that the logbook and a lot of apps are the in thing right now, but um, patience because that's how you also get injured. It's about the
Yeah.
fact. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like with all things, it's a little bit of give and take, and also like depends a lot on like where you're at in your
Mhm.
bodybuilding career. Like I think when it comes to like building the density, you do kind of need to like focus on moving heavy load without being too sloppy. So, coming up in my career, I was more apt to just kind of like sling stuff around.
Okay.
In hindsight, I wish I kind of reeled it in a little bit more. But I also think even now, like it's okay if you just want to go in there and have fun and like move some weight one day, as long as
Mhm.
you're not going in there like on
Yeah.
a kamikaze mission to kill yourself. But
So I guess going into like this little cleanup phase for you, your training split is the same.
yeah, it's the same for the foreseeable future. My training partner is doing a show this weekend, and then he's doing NAs.
Okay.
Um, so he's kind of like doing some different stuff. So I was debating I might change it around, but then I know after NAs he'll be back on this one. So I'll probably just keep it
Yeah.
until he's ready to change something and then figure out what that will. I really like the split that I'm on right now, so I'm not chomping at the bit to change it.
Yeah, to give everyone an idea, I guess that because when I got the update from Justin this morning, he said I want glutes and hamstring days, I want back days and delts days, and these are the only things that I'm focused on right now. Then I shared it. I ran it by Calvin again, and he said like, okay, then I guess that we could still stick with what we are doing, like from 2 weeks back, just to fix my symmetry and everything because of like certain imbalance that I have. So we're just doing like upper, lower, upper again, and rest,
Mhm.
and then we go on a cycle like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I back and down, so I could put it on the same day.
Yeah, and I also like on that note too, like I've ran the same split all year, but that's not to say that I've ran the exact same program all year. Like I'll
Yeah,
swap out,
especially on
yeah,
exercises.
I swap stuff out here and there. And I think like the more I progress, the more I'm like willing to swap stuff out too, because I can actually pay
Mhm.
attention to like how it
Yeah,
feels as opposed to having that little voice in the back of my head, like, oh well, this is what you should be doing when like maybe what I should be doing doesn't necessarily feel great for me. So, but anyway, how have we
well,
talked for 40 minutes already? Should we pull up Tampa?
I guess we should.
God.
This was great though.
I know. Oh dear.
It was a big weekend though. I managed to catch the stream.
Yes, me too.
Beautiful stream, great stream. Shout out to Gilco. It was Gilco,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Uh,
clear as day.
was it Gilco? It must have been because they did the reels. It's a really big, so there's Texas today Texas and Tupelo is today for figure.
And Masters Olympia is too.
And Masters Olympia this weekend. And I think I heard that women's physique is on different days for Texas and Tupelo. So Marika is actually doing both shows, I heard. So hopefully she'll get her qualification this
I'm
weekend.
a little bit like perhaps like just unfamiliar. How close is Texas from Tupelo?
Actually, that's a really good question because I meant to look that up. So let me.
Because wow, but I've heard people doing that before. I think in Asia, like bikini girls have done that.
Yeah, I guess it's not. Well, it is a lot different than a 2-day show, but because probably it's okay. It's not too bad from Dallas, which I think is where Texas is. 6.5 to 7 hours.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah, and she wouldn't need to be training though in between those 4 days.
exactly. She can just hop in her car and
Yeah.
she won't
Go.
even need to pee that much because she'll be dehydrated. It'll be the best time to go.
I would love to have her on at some point though to hear her experience about doing like two shows and everything. We need to
Yeah,
have her. But can you imagine if she won both shows this weekend?
that would be awesome. That would be awesome. And I did see, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought Brooke Walker had retired, but she's doing Tupelo.
Okay. Yeah, I saw her updates.
So Missy is doing her figure debut. We've got Heather doing her figure debut. So it'll be an exciting weekend. I'm excited.
That would be so cool because I know Rhea is in the Texas lineup with Heather as well. Yeah, Heather in Texas is in
Heather,
Texas.
which Heather?
The,
Heather Tillery?
yeah.
She's doing Tupelo.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought she was. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I got it confused. Sorry. Yeah, my bad.
I know I couldn't keep them straight either because I thought they were both like tomorrow for the first thing, but let's see here.
This year's lineup and shows are hot.
Oh, I need to ask myself. I know.
And I really like that it's the case for women's physique.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly. They
Mm-hmm.
deserve to get all that attention just like simply for like how these girls are bringing it this year. That
Yeah.
makes it fun.
I feel like these pictures from Tampa, sorry, whoever took them, I feel like they like didn't post process them at all. Like the color all looks a little muddy, but they're what we got. So sorry. I definitely don't think they're Gilco, but oh, I can't. There we go.
Number one, we have thighs.
Yeah. I to be honest with you, last year I was not a
Fan.
fan of Thais or Thais.
I always just call them thighs.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'm getting a name right.
Okay.
I apologize, babe, if I'm getting it wrong.
But I feel like she really did a lot of work in her off season to kind of streamline her
I
physique.
agree. Yes. Because I'll be honest, when she walked out, I didn't know that was her.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw her, I watched the prejudging just like on my phone while I was getting my steps in at the gym, and I was like, eh. But then when I watched finals, like on my big screen, I was like, no, she definitely, I can agree with
Mhm.
that. I
Yeah.
do love,
Great conditioning, great lines. Lines were
yeah,
deep, very separated.
that's one thing about her. Like she will show up in shape.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing about figure conditioning. I guess like what we discussed with Haiti from previous episodes. I think the difference between maybe women's physique and figure is, figure they want deep lines, deep separations, but we don't want to see that very dry, grainy
Hmm.
texture.
Which I think for a lot of girls, sometimes like that's
It's
a,
hard though.
a genetic component too. So sometimes I think ladies that have that grittiness, that graininess to them, almost need to like reel it back a little bit.
But I find that so challenging to do sometimes because you don't want to affect other areas altogether. You want to make sure that everything is pretty even with the
Yeah.
light and the conditioning, top to bottom, front to back.
Hmm. I thought Madison and Lizzie looked great. That Shauna, that is
She
her
was
pro
so
debut.
good as well. Yeah, like I know she started with Justin. I can't remember when was last, but probably after her season last year. I
Madison.
think yeah, Madison. Yeah, I think she. I thought she brought a fantastic package. A lot of improvements to the upper body, especially with the back.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. And I think she worked out a lot of maybe some imbalances in her off season as well, because I thought I remembered last year she kind of had a little bit of an asymmetrical back pose. Am I remembering correctly? I could be wrong. Whereas I don't see any of those
yeah,
imbalances.
it's just affecting the posing a little bit. Yeah,
And Shauna, I when she was posting her check-ins leading up to Tampa, I honestly thought like, oh my God, this girl is wellness. Like this isn't figure, is it? But they did a really good job of balancing her out and bringing her to stage with a beautiful figure look.
yeah. She's very streamlined. And
Like
yeah,
her presentation on stage, I it's crazy. I'm like, where did they put her legs? Because do you
right.
remember when I sent you that one check-in? Like, holy shit, look at her quads.
Yeah,
But they really. streamlined her. I think it's beautiful. I think she's gonna have a really bright future. I think she'll be at the Olympia before we know it.
Yeah, just a little bit more to like just the upper body in general with the shoulders, and I think she would be
Hmm.
really good. Yeah, perfect.
And I think part of that could be just being like an eensy weensy bit tighter,
Yeah.
especially through her back shot. But
Yeah, let's compare the back shots. Yeah, I do agree with the. Do you agree with the first to fourth
yeah,
personally?
yep,
Yeah. I mean, I can see why. I'm thinking like at least when they picked thighs, it was probably a balance kind of standpoint. I mean, I thought it would have been Madison, but I don't know if it's like, look, she should donate me like 10% of her glutes, and she
I
would still.
know. I know. She's got crazy glutes. And to be honest with you, if Madison won the show, I wouldn't be upset at all.
Oh yeah,
I I actually thought she was going to win, so I was a little
I do
surprised
think so. Yeah,
with Tyus. But after I looked at the pictures, I was like, okay,
you can see like it's just the balance. So I guess like everyone can learn it's not about like a big muscle group competition.
yeah,
It's like when people say that yes, I need more glute, I need more arm, and like it's not. Sometimes it's not about like the body part being small.
exactly.
You gotta consider like each other's your own insertions and the shape of your own muscle bellies. Because like I said, I had to bring up my arms not because like they were small, but because I have long arms, so I have a
Mhm.
lot of room to fill. But I also have to be one of those that have to be careful because yes, I have room to fill them, but if they look obvious that they have grown, then it means like it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess that's one thing that we all can pay attention to. It's like when we see someone that need more mid back, these are little factors to just keep in
Mhm.
mind. Yeah,
Mhm. Yep. Uh, oh, actually, this reminds me. I was kind of surprised Dee didn't do a little bit better. I do see it through the back pose, but
Mhm.
man, that is such a pretty front shot. I
Yeah.
think.
I'm just looking at all these girls.
Yeah,
Like yeah,
but I do see.
I like D Jackson is great
Yeah.
from the yeah.
I think she's at
Probably like yeah, just probably like they probably might have told her like a bit more like posterior density overall,
Yep.
but she's
Yep.
got that figure shape from the front.
Yep. Absolutely beautiful.
Mhm.
And I think she's in Tokyo this weekend, right?
Okay, yeah. So also interesting thing about the Tokyo show, there is a men's physique pro show and a bikini pro show that's going on. Well, spoke to my bikini friend who's doing the Tokyo Pro, not Masters Olympia, but Tokyo Pro. It goes on Monday my time, so that's Sunday your time. Um, I think it's Masters Olympia the same weekend. It's this weekend, right? Is it
This
this
is this
weekend?
weekend,
Oh
yeah.
yes, it's this weekend. So there's like multiple pro shows going on in Tokyo, like at one go. So it's like the
Um,
Masters Olympia and then
yeah.
the Tokyo
Okay.
Pro.
Busy, 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 busy.
Yeah.
And Steph Roth did her pro day. Whoops, I'm clicking on the wrong screen here. Steph Roth did her. There were no pictures on NBC News. It was a different girl. So I should probably just start linking the reels for everybody, but not everyone has them, and I want to be consistent. So
So I do want to give her very big compliments because she coaches herself.
does she still?
Yeah. Well, you said I could coach people, but I don't think I could ever prep myself. I would just run myself down to the ground.
I know. And I don't think I could have a productive off season myself, especially because I would just be like, well, I'm full and I'm getting fat, so I can just hang out here for a while. And sometimes I think as women, we just need that extra push. Like just keep going. You're fine.
I wonder what her feedback was. I thought she's quite complete actually.
I think so
Like
too.
yeah, because she's complete in the sense that she does not have. I would say in terms of like where all the muscle groups are at, in terms of their development, it's all on par.
I agree. Very just symmetrical, balanced. Beautiful presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just linked the
I like
link.
Ninoska. Sorry, I just want to say like I love Ninoska's. I hope I got her name right.
Mhm.
Ninos, yeah, like her shape,
Yes.
especially. Yes.
Yep. I agree. Beautiful figure front shot.
Where's the back shot? Okay, yeah. So it's probably yeah, I would say maybe it's a just overall tightness thing from behind.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
And
right,
then
women's physique.
there you go. My
I
favorite.
was looking forward to seeing this one.
I know. Oh God. Like she's probably one of my favorites.
She is my one of my favorites
Like look
for
at that
sure.
side ham
Hands down. And it's like because I like her structure from the front.
job. Mm-hmm.
Man, check out those calves. There it goes for the both of us.
Everything. Like the world's bubbliest back. Like she just blows
It's
me
so
away.
bubbly, yeah.
When she first came out, I almost because she has the same suit color, I think, as the women's bodybuilder
Mhm.
who won. And at
You,
first I was
you
like,
feel
wait a
that?
second.
Sorry, Jess. Don't cut you. Continue.
What was that?
No, I was continue. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh, okay. No, and I just at first for a second before I dropped the link on this, I was like, wait a second, is that Zama or is that the women's bodybuilder who won? She's that bubbly.
Yes, so that was what I was gonna say because she's so bubbly, right? It's like alone when we're looking at her alone, it's almost as if like she could move up if she wanted to
Yeah.
easily. Yeah,
But I love it. I just all of these women's physique ladies, I'm pretty much just gonna fangirl over because
and she's a little bit of like a slightly
thing.
shorter girl. So she's the one of like a slightly shorter girl, but it's so funny though because when she was standing next to Megan, I
Yeah,
think she was like the giant.
and I think I think it was pretty tight between the two of them too.
Yeah,
I don't think it was quite as easy a win as most of us probably had just assumed Zama would have because
Meg,
Megan's
yes.
presentation here is absolutely phenomenal.
Meg was probably the most anticipated athlete of
Yeah.
this weekend. And I can totally see why, because she like took so long off the stage. And I've
Yeah.
been following her from the day she turned pro before I even jumped into the sport. And I thought like she just has that
Cool.
genetics and the body that just wants to grow.
Yeah.
And I thought she did a fantastic job because when she came out, she looked so elegant. She's got fantastic makeup. The hair is great. The suit, just everything flows so perfectly. She nailed it bang on. For this, I think this is a pro debut,
Yes.
right?
Her debut in physique because she
Figure. Okay,
competed
yes.
in
All right, all
figure,
right.
right?
Yeah,
So and she took like all of what was it? Pretty much all of last year, maybe more, training for wellness. So this just goes to show like how that muscle will stick around. Like I
yeah.
know she got back to training upper body, but I think like we always get in our heads like, oh no, I'm gonna miss a week or I need to take a week off or oh I got sick and had to stay home. But it's like, y'all, if you're meant to have that muscle, if you truly worked hard to earn that muscle and it's not just drug muscle, like it's not just gonna
Go
disappear.
away.
I mean,
For
don't get me wrong, we definitely don't all have Meg genetics, but we're also not all gonna just wither away.
for the time that she spent bringing up the upper body again, this is incredible. So I know
Yeah.
like that will probably be the focus for her moving forward. I think that's probably why they picked Zama over her.
Mhm.
That's probably it's probably like a just balance standpoint.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what show she's doing next. I know they mentioned she's out of Texas, so we'll have to.
Okay.
I would love if she came to Phoenix. Come to Phoenix, Meg.
Well, we would love to see, and we wish you all the best for your journey. All of us are looking forward to this big time.
Then we had Paula in third, but I'm going to skip to Susan Graham.
Okay.
Sorry, we can watch Paula. I feel like we've seen Paula like every single show this year. But I thought Susan has a beautiful look all the time too. Very
Yeah,
streamlined, very, very classic.
yeah.
Beautiful positioning.
Look at her chest.
Yeah. So classy too. She
I
just
don't know if it's the short hair, but she reminds me of Denalyn Belly,
oh yeah. Yeah, the
right?
short hair.
Yeah,
I feel like she just kind of has that classic women's physique, you
yeah.
know.
Like when it first like gone on, and like this
Yeah.
was the kind of like look that was coming out.
And I just feel like all of these top ladies are just so I know this like isn't a judging criteria, but it's nice to see like very elegant looking ladies in presentations like gracing the stage,
Yes,
since everyone loves to call us men.
this is a powerful ab and thigh shot.
Hmm.
Mm. What do you think her feedback was?
When she turns around, could she use a little more density in the back?
Yeah, I was thinking the back density. She's got great lats from the front.
Yeah.
Everything in front is okay. I say just
Es-
maybe like the thickness behind.
Especially when you're in a lineup with like Zama and
Yeah,
everyone that
yeah.
like bubbles, like
Hmm.
tumors growing off the back. I think she's just a little bit shallow.
Yeah, so I guess like if we rank fourth to first place, you can see like why one was picked over the other. I thought this was quite clear for this show.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
sorry everyone for bailing on the side by sides. I was thinking we would just touch on it like briefly since Haley wasn't here because when we talk about women's physique, I know that's not my lane and I just think like
yeah,
it looks incredible. So, but I should have done them side by side. So sorry about that.
yeah.
But
Our next women's physique, our little host will be back soon.
yes.
When, yes.
And then this gal, I think she's one of Jacoby's
Okay.
clients. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe she turned pro. I'm not sure if she did her pro debut. I think she did her pro debut in women's bodybuilding.
Wow. Okay.
So I think this was her first showing in women's physique. And I think she had a beautiful, super conditioned package. Like they were
10
sharing.
is great. 10 is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the Jacoby conditioning.
Yeah. I was
You
going
can
to say
tell. Yeah.
they nailed her peak. I would love if Haley was here. This would be
Mhm.
her critique. So I'm going to speak for Haley and myself. I would love if her suit bottoms came up a little bit higher.
Now you gotta say it in the way that Haley says it.
How would she say it?
I don't know. I know she
Okay.
has a way of saying it.
Do you think? I feel like when they cut in right at the hip right there, I feel like they almost make the waist look a little bit wide. The hips look a little bit too wide.
Yeah. So I think, sorry, excuse me. I will always have like suit connectors higher up where your narrowest part of the waist would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think part of the illusion too, my only like nitpick on her physique is the front lat.
Yeah.
So I feel like not quite having that drastic taper up top paired with the suit bottoms. I think the suit bottoms is one thing that she could easily change before the next show, whereas like, the front lat is going to be an off-season project. So
Yeah.
sometimes I think when you take that judge's feedback too, it's like a lot of it, if you've got a deep lineup of shows, if you're trying to hit a bunch back to back,
Mhm.
you have to break it down into things that you can address in the next couple weeks and things that you have to realize like, all right, well, I probably can't gain for a woman 3 to 4 to 5 pounds of stage weight in the next few weeks. So what
Yeah.
can change?
That's true. Did you see a post speaking of like stage weight that you just mentioned? They said like, what if women had weight caps?
That's I feel like for
And you know what I think? I think the reason why we also don't have it, apart from like just how much weight women can fluctuate at any time,
yeah. Yeah,
it's
I mean,
also also because we don't actually have that many competitors to class out by weight in that sense. What I'm trying to also say here, it's like with, okay, I guess maybe with figure it has been a little bit difficult, but with how the trend has been going, that's why they're trying to downsize a lot of us girls. Um, I just think that because maybe at the start they just don't think that there's a chance where women could get that big.
Yeah,
Or
and also, like, they're already well, I guess they're doing this instead of the weight cap. Instead of the weight cap, probably they're breaking us up into height classes every inch. So then you have to think about it. I feel like I feel like women probably have a little more deviation in height,
Mhm.
because they start our height classes at 5 feet and
Okay.
then break them up every inch for the biggest national classes, not for regionals. Break them up
Okay.
every inch until you get to 5'7", and then it's everybody over 5'7" is thrown into one class. So I feel like it would have to be some sort of equation, like based on, I don't know how it would work for women.
But you see, even the men had height classes, at least for men's physique. Amateurs, they don't have a weight cap, but they do for the pros.
Oh, okay. So men's physique amateur, it's just height.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you know what I find very interesting, because I was thinking about how weight caps came about, right? And I was just discussing this with a couple of friends. I see a purpose of the weight caps. I also do agree with it, but I also don't agree with it to a certain extent. That I guess that maybe this is a little bit of controversial of a topic. But do you feel that perhaps the weight caps wouldn't have been there if they were very clear on what kind of look that they wanted for? I'm talking about the men, by the way.
For men.
Yeah, for like men's physique, classic physique, 212, and then opens. Because to me, it's like, men's physique, there's a very clear look that they want,
Yeah.
classic as well. And then there's 212 and opens. So to me, like, the priority should have been like the consistency in the shapes of these people and what classic physique should be. And then you don't get that weight cap thing where you have to concentrate a lot of these guys, because I still think that the shape and the overall flow of a classic guy is very different from an open guy. And I'm not saying that the open guy, of course, open guys, but if you're aesthetic attack, like a Justin Shire,
Mhm.
good for you. That is your perk.
Mhm.
For more aesthetic divisions, if it was like very standardized, it was clear, then maybe we wouldn't see so much of like having so many classic guys look like open guys that they had to throw in that weight cap.
Yeah. I have always been a believer that, like, at the end of the day, I mean, it's kind of a lot like being figure. You're either classic or you're not. I think
Yeah,
a lot of guys that are in classic are probably really bodybuilders. They just don't think they want to get
get to
that
the.
big.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess in some ways that's similar to figure. Like, sure, anyone can do figure, but to be the best of the best, you probably have to be born with a pretty
Yeah, with that
genetic.
structure. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, so sometimes I think it's give and take. Like, sure, a little bit of the choice is yours, but sometimes you need to let your body dictate what division you're going to be in.
yeah. I think
And
we had this conversation with Elaine.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, sure, you also need to look at like the pros in the division and decide if that's even how you want to look, because it's totally like it's your body. Like, you need to live in it. If you don't have the genetic structure for figure, but you don't want to put on quite as much muscle as women's physique, then hang out in figure. Like, that's your choice.
yeah,
You might just need to be realistic with what your expectations are.
yeah, yeah.
And that's fine. Like, you can still, I mean, I'm in that boat. So that's why I'm able to like say that so freely.
And it's always lineup dependent, right? Like at the end of the day, I always tell people this, and I think this is why you and I decided to do this podcast with Haley, because and I would say like us breaking down these shows has taught me, and I'm sure it has with you and Haley as well. It's taught us how to try to understand why the placings are as such, even if we don't understand it completely,
Yeah.
because we didn't take the judge's course.
Hmm.
We just do coverages, right? But
Exactly.
studying it and understanding it gives you an understanding of like what they really want, where the trend and where the division is going, and then alongside with what we work with our physique, what the tools that we are born with, and what we like figure to be, we mash that together and bring a look that we feel would represent the division.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think the more shows you watch, sometimes you realize you never freaking know. You don't know if they're looking for size, conditioning,
Yes. Yeah.
symmetry.
So I would say bring what you think
So
the division should be.
exactly, like look how you're proud of and try to get better with like every time you step on stage. And that's sometimes that's the most can do. I think the more you try to like, I think this is cliche advice, but stay in your lane and play to your strengths. Don't like see who's winning every single show and try to look like them, because I don't think that's gonna work in your favor.
I will be honest though, doing all the women's physique show coverages with you and Haley, maybe that's why I got a bit carried away with Amni. I was like, oh my god, that looks fun.
Yeah. I will say, I've always said, if I got started in this 5 years earlier, I would have loved to have done women's physique. That's like my favorite division, probably.
Who's to say it's not too late though?
Yeah, yeah. You can always do
We
master.
would never say never because I was that one person who was like, oh nah, I don't think I would ever consider women's physique.
You
I'm
you
far away.
absolutely could push up to women's
But you
physique.
see, I never thought that I could, and I would never have had that thought half a year
Yeah,
ago with
yeah.
with what I was working with being this, because I am and am still, I always will be a small size person. My
Okay, but
no, as in my body type likes
okay, okay.
yeah, I am very just a small person in general.
Because I was gonna be like, Eleni says this too, and it's like there's a difference between being short and being small, and you two are short. You're not small, but I understand what you're saying, in that your body type wants to be. It doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily want
because
to.
if I wasn't bodybuilding, I can guarantee you I would be your skinny chick walking
Yeah,
on the street. That is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what
yeah.
I meant. Yeah.
I feel like my body's always wanted to survive holocausts and harsh winters.
Survive harsh winters, I would say, is the right thing to do because you just burn out when the temperature is not in your favor. But yeah, what you were saying, like with you just don't know what the judges are looking for. This is a great thing to point out because I was talking to my friend who just finished, and she's a bikini girl who just finished the Taiwan Pro. I think it was maybe like 2 weeks ago, and she was like sharing with me that because Becky was actually judging her show, and then they did a little women's seminar after that. So she attended that, and Becky said sometimes people can't go off what they want in the division from just looking at the winner alone, because sometimes they just have to pick who looked the best given the people that turned out, and the winner might not exactly be what they would want in a standard bikini wellness or whatever, but she was the closest to the criteria that day.
Mhm.
So I think that's something that we also need to, you know, take into consideration.
Yeah, like as much things that robots and AI are taking over, like judging is still very much human. So it's like sometimes it just comes down to a little. I mean, it's a subjective industry.
Yeah, we should share with everyone though that they should drop their check-ins in AI and actually see like the feedback because it's actually pretty good.
Well, okay, I have a double-edged sword, so I thought it was pretty good. I don't
Okay.
know if I can share this. I'm gonna sound like an asshole. Um, you have to kind of encourage it to be very critical. If you just like put your chat GPT is always going to not necessarily agree with you if you're wrong on like a true or false statement.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's sort of like a subjective thing, it's going to try to agree with the user. So you kind of have to be like, I'm looking to earn my pro card, or I'm going to do my pro debut, or like, let me have it. If you just put your check-ins in there, it's going to be like, you look great. Which is great if you need like an ego boost. Like I have actually used it for the ego boost once or twice. But then I've seen some people who have used it and they've screenshot like their check-in.
What the details are. Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, well,
What
and
I've seen my friends do, and this was actually pretty good, is that they send their check-ins, and I actually did that with mine, and I think I sent it to you and Haley.
yeah, yeah, that's
How,
what got me started doing it every so
yeah,
often.
like, how close do you think I fit the figure criteria according to the IFBB Pro League standards? And do you think that I would be competitive as a figure pro? And then that's when they came out. But why I'm sharing this is because I got my amateur friend to do it for wellness, and then she sent it to ChatGPT, and she said like, yeah, and she did the same thing. Even amateurs comparing to pro standard, and then ChatGPT broke down every single muscle group from, okay, let's say maybe glutes, hamstrings, shoulders, arms, quads, right? These five muscle groups mainly that they would probably pay a little bit more attention to in the overall wellness. And then ChatGPT would rate it from poor, decent, and excellent.
Oh wow.
And then they would say, okay, yeah. So they would compare it to, yeah, yeah. So there was like the three different columns that they broke it down. So she got her rating, and then they compare it to what the average Olympian or pro wellness would be, and then she would just say like, compared to this one, poor, compared to that one, poor. So you need to bring up this and that.
Yeah, it really does because it's done something similar to me, just kind of like broken down like what's good, what's needs like some bringing up, and it doesn't. I don't think it went so far as to tell me anything was bad, but maybe if I was a little more aggressive. We actually have a guy at our gym that's like prepping with it, I think, and I'm curious to see how
How
that
it
goes
turns out.
because like I don't know where the accountability aspect comes in, you know? So like if you're checking in with ChatGPT, which I don't recommend anyone use ChatGPT as a prep coach. Like if you want to have fun with it, like I think it is fun and you can
Yeah, it's
actually
fun.
learn some things. It's not a prep coach. Okay. What are you going to do in peak week? Like
Yeah.
it's not a prep coach. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you don't want to give like the reins to ChatGPT entirely, and you want to
yeah.
be able to, you have to take things into context very objectively because. But I would say it was pretty close for you when they said you are in a great spot to start that push-up phase for you, and you were like,
It's told me
yeah,
I'm
I'm
in a great
good,
spot
and I
too.
agreed 100% when you did it. And then for me, but for me it was a little bit weird because when I sent it and they're like, gotta watch out being too dry. I'm like, what do you mean too dry?
Okay, see, ChatGPT is telling you the things that I think, so it's not wrong. But
Judging from the quads, maybe at
yeah,
best,
and
because I
you've got
know I'm not lean. I'm not stage weight. Not yet.
no, but you've got abs and quads, lines in your quads. So, but I will say, like, I'm curious if there would be any sort of accountability aspect. Like, if you were to tell ChatGPT in your check-in, like, I missed a cardio session and I binged the other night. Like, what's it gonna do?
What's it gonna say to you though?
Yeah, what's it gonna do? Like, oh, it's okay.
What should I do? I had a cheat meal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because
I would love
especially,
to yeah, sorry, go on.
no, I was just gonna say it's not that I've ever been like necessarily tempted to cheat on prep, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's like if that thought has ever been there, I'm sure I would think, well, fuck, I'm not gonna admit to Jacoby that I'm a jackass and can't stick on my meal plan, so maybe I won't do that. Whereas like if I had a robot that was holding me accountable, I'd probably be like, They won't care.
Yeah.
They'll tell me I'm doing a good job anyway.
Well, and the other thing is that you want to like, how is the Chat GPT going to have monitored all your progress from previous check-ins,
Yeah.
the records, right?
Well, it is pretty good once you program. I know
Oh,
this, like I've taught it a tone for what I do for work.
right, right.
So once you like program it, it'll probably actually keep a record. And then as a user, you could probably do like I know when I send my check-ins to Justin, I do last week, this week, even if it's an off season, deep in off season, and you're probably not going to see any changes.
Mhm.
So you could definitely like do that with ChatGPT too. But I'm also curious, like, yeah, how would it handle water manipulation? How would it handle like, yeah, peak week protocols, like
Yeah.
drugs? I have no idea. I have no idea what these people are doing.
I'll say if you're using ChatGPT, then you probably already need to have some sort of baseline knowledge to play
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting. I mean, I do think like it has benefits. Like, some people at work have asked me like, "Oh, I don't know where to start with macros. Can you help me?" And it's like, I don't know what your macros should be. Like, put your information into ChatGPT or something.
A lot of things to assess.
Yeah.
Activity level, age, how trained you are,
Yeah.
how many times a week you can do this or that.
Yeah. I always tell people like, all right, well, first thing is you need to know where you're even starting with. So if you're not
Yeah,
tracking them, just eat normally for the next week and just pay attention. Like start logging it.
I agree,
But
especially if you're going to be prepping yourself.
yeah. And these are mostly like not even necessarily people that are into bodybuilding, just like, oh,
Lifestyle.
how do I look like you? And it's like, well, I am on drugs.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
because of the drugs that I look like this, but you should know that drugs
yeah.
are involved.
I guess, but I was simply say to a certain extent, I guess, like, what I was saying to you earlier before we started the pod, right? Like, since we started this coverage thing, it's interesting that we see a lot of people on Instagram, like, they don't have the most number of followers, but we see a lot of hidden talent.
Mhm,
It's there. Sometimes just, I guess, the algorithm sometimes will only show you the ones that obviously have the most exposure.
mhm.
So what I'm trying to say is goes back to like tell everyone that when you're looking at something on social media, take it at face value.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Because we don't need to show everything, honestly.
yeah. Like no matter how people think someone or even myself looks like good or whatever, like to me, I can't bring myself to see it even for myself until I get on stage, and then the
Yeah,
results speak for it. Yeah.
yeah. I remember peak week during nationals. Like, I don't say this to sound depressing. The way I view like my check-ins, I'm just like emotionally disconnected. Like, I don't allow like sometimes I'll have positive thoughts, sometimes I'll have negative thoughts, but I don't allow them to
That's
like
human.
hang around for too long. So honestly, like once you get like tanned at a show and stuff, when you kind of look down at yourself, at least for me, it just kind of looks like the detail is kind of left.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
I would be doing like, the check-ins every hour after like that first coat of tan and just kind of be like, am I in shape? And
Yeah,
then
sometimes even after the 10, and then you have to do that last check in after 10, you're like, why do I look more like
yeah,
washed?
I feel like I look better pale. Anyway, and then you see the pictures like the second you step off stage and it's like, oh my God, I do have lines in my quads. That's pretty cool. So
Yeah. So I guess it's like it goes to show like the stage lighting plays a part.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm looking forward to seeing your pro debut though, Jess. I think like a lot of changes have came for you since I like last saw you get off stage in nationals.
I hope
I
so.
think
I
you would
also
actually be
feeling
doing pretty well next year.
I'm feeling optimistic because like sure it's crazy that it's August already,
Mhm.
but we'll probably wrap up this health diet cleanup phase, whatever you want to call it. Um Maybe mid next month, August, September, maybe mid-September, if I had to guess. So that
Okay.
still leaves me with, like, a pretty decent amount of time to get like another push for
It's a
size.
lot of time, yeah, I would say.
And then I'm not gonna do a show until like later next year. So
Is it confirmed fall for you?
well, not confirmed, but like
Okay,
loosely, loosely.
right. Yeah, maybe like 2 words, like second half.
Yeah, like around this time or later.
Mhm.
So I think I still got a decent amount of time. I feel like I'm happy with the progress that I've made in my quads, so I want to keep that rolling. I've got to get these delts to come up.
No, but I would say I was just gonna comment on your shoulders. So I was gonna say like it's not something that like knocking off nationals. That when you look at yourself and you look at physique, and I thought you looked great, but it's kind of like okay, yeah, she needs to bring up the shoulders. But
Yeah,
now it's like we could always have more shoulders. All
yeah.
of us could, but it's at least it's not something that's glaring in your face anymore. In your case,
Yeah, and I think for me, I've mentioned this before. I think for me, I get kind of lucky because what I lack for in delts, I kind of make up for in just like being a little bit wider up top. Like
mm,
my clavicles are wide,
yeah,
so that kind of helps with that width. But I'm more excited to see your run next year.
I hope so too. I'm excited as well.
So
I like this off season. I felt like it's done like quite a lot for all of us just to get a
yeah,
little bit of mental reset, and I think that's why like it's great for all of us because we get to do things like this podcast here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That
we'll
is
be
like
we'll all like be taking turns next year. So like
I know, I know. I was thinking about that. I was like,
that would
schedule's
be
gonna be
fun
crazy,
though.
but you know what? Between three of us, even if there's like times we gotta just do the two of us, get some guests in here, we'll be okay. So,
Yeah,
but
then that would be so interesting.
yeah, so
We
it'll be
have like a
exciting.
lot of updates for little people, for everyone
Yeah,
here, like little
yeah.
sprinkles here and there.
I think it's I, evident that we like truly enjoy bodybuilding and just kind of like love all phases, including the off season when you're able to kind of like
Yeah.
show as much progress as you've made.
Mhm.
So
But I think that's why like you should encourage people to enjoy the off season because
yeah,
at least for you and I, we are so excited to start prep, not because we're itching to get back on stage, but because we've made some improvements that we are excited to see what they look like on stage again.
what's crazy? I'm actually not excited to start prep. I'm excited to, well, and if you think about it, like it hasn't
I'm
even
excited
been,
to see how it looks.
yeah, it hasn't even really been like a full year. And it's not that I'm like dreading it. I'm just kind of like I know I'm not ready. So like
Yeah.
mentally, I'm not chomping at the bit to prep. I think that makes it easier. Like when I know I'm not ready, I think if I thought I could be competitive, then I'd probably want to prep. But I know like come spring next year, I'll be like, all right, I've been fat long enough. Let's go ahead and strip it
Yeah,
down.
like sometimes like when enough is enough. So I was thinking to myself, like, when next year? I mean, I haven't really thought of like the exact dates, obviously, because we have to wait on schedule. And obviously I have to see like when it makes sense for me to fly in from a cost perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's also like, okay, I don't think I need an like longer.
You could start prepping now. It just what would you what for why? So
I mean, I would have loved to do like end of this year, but because like like towards the end, there's not many left, that kind of thing. And like, look, we're already in August.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like what you and I spoke about.
Yeah.
But with
Especially
the ring,
down to like waiting to be in a better spot like financially too and just
yeah,
like not having that even if you're in a great spot right now, it's nice to just like literally have no worries about it.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, I could have started prep this year, but I know that the cost would be weighing on me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
So
that crazy. But with your progress, I don't worry. I'm confident that I can see you like and you have made like it will be significant by next year.
I hope so. I'm kind of excited to see it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All righty, my friend. Anything else?
No, I think this was great.
I know. I kind of had fun yapping with the two of us. We missed.
Because sometimes I forget that we're on a pod.
I
And it's
know.
kind of you're just catching up with the video call. And oh my
I
God.
know. I thought that at one point too, and then I was like, I'm not saying anything too dummy, am I? So, but
Because sometimes
hopefully,
you just forget, right? Like the timer thing is going on. So, oh, it's
yeah,
recording. You
yeah,
gotta be careful what you say.
yeah.
We're on air.
Hopefully Haley will be back with us next week, and we can hit. It's a big weekend for women's physique and figure, so hopefully she can
A
join us.
lot of shows this weekend.
Yeah. So
And we're
I'm gonna
wishing all the companies all the best.
yes. I'm not sure if I'll get to. I'll probably pull up the schedule. I'm going to go train like mid-morning, so I'm not sure if I'm going to miss anything, but I'd love to be able to catch finals for one of them. So
Okay.
I'll see what I do. But all
Today's
right.
a today's a rest day, right?
It was going to be, but I
Okay.
figured I would just do like a push day tomorrow, but I want to go to my training partner's show, and I'm not sure if I want to do prejudging or finals. And I'm also finally getting my new air conditioning tomorrow morning. So I think I'm going to go do push today and just take tomorrow as a rest day, so I don't need to
Okay.
worry about coordinating anything.
All right.
Excited, I'm excited to have some air conditioning back in my life.
I'm excited to finally have more food back in my life.
Oh yeah, yeah. Enjoy, enjoy.
I will.
But all right, talk soon.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Here, you
Bye.
too. Bye.